I am RH negative, and I've been through some things that have possibly correlated, you know, due to my blood type and everything RH negative represents. So, for those of you who don't know, RH negative is said to be a unique blood type that is very rare within the human population. So, people were saying, like, I was doing research on this, and people were saying that RH negative is like linked to empathic abilities and sometimes psychic abilities. And when I read that, it just hit me like, wow, like I have had stuff that I predicted in life, or stuff I just said, and it happened, and I don't know how it happened. I like predicted the future, or I just said something and it happened. So this happened in two occurrences. Something very strange happened to me when I think I was in like ninth grade. I don't know what grade I was, but I was at the movies with some friends, and we used to go to the movies every Saturday, and it used to be like extremely packed. And I had like a really unique dressing style. Like my style was like, it was really colorful. And this boy like just randomly approached me, and mind you, there's so many people out there. He randomly approached me, and this was one of like the strangest people I've ever met. It's like he like fell out the sky or something. Like we don't know where he came from. He just showed up, popped up out of nowhere. And it was just all so strange now that I think about it, and everything that happened after this. So this boy said he was from a little a ways away from where I lived in Kenner, and it was just so strange. So after meeting this guy, like I talked to him, and he was telling me how his lifestyle was, and I could tell he was like going through it, and he like drove really, really reckless. He was telling me like, oh yeah, I almost got in an accident. And I remember thinking like, this guy's gonna die, like straight up. I just knew that he was gonna die. And I can tell just by like his energy, and I don't know how I knew. Like I just came out and like said that, like, oh my god, this guy's gonna die. So I remember he came over to my house, and my mom was like, this guy's too old for you, stop talking to him. And it was just so strange. I was like excited because I was dumb and like, I don't know, a guy, oh my god, it's exciting, whatever. But something happened to where I was like not home, and my sister was home, and he came by like looking for me, and he left a note, and then I found out he died. So this was also strange. I remember we were in the middle of like a hurricane evacuation shortly after he died. Or I just knew he died. Like nobody told me, because I didn't know anybody he knew. Like I said, it seemed like this guy just like came out of the blue and just walked up to me. I didn't know anybody he knew. We weren't connected in any way. And so I just like Googled his name. Mind you, I'm a good ass researcher, y'all. I used to be a news reporter. Like I know how to find what I need to find online. And so I looked up like his name and his location, and then I found his obituary. He died in a car crash. And I remember I was just so depressed. I was so sad. I was like crying. And I remember we like evacuated to Alabama, where my sister was, during a hurricane that was coming. And things are always so like blurry for me, like around when a hurricane hits, because I feel like unbalanced and I never know what's gonna happen, and like it's just a little spooky for me. And so the fact that this guy who I knew he was gonna die. I just knew. I don't know how I knew. I just had this like knowing. And then my sister was like, my sister was like, yeah, that guy came over looking for you and brought that note. And I was like, oh yeah, he died. And then I started laughing like a psychopath. Mind you, I didn't know how to process my emotions when I was younger. So my sister was like, why are you laughing? And I was like, I don't know. And I couldn't stop laughing. It's because I didn't know how to handle the situation. Like, I didn't know anybody that died before I met this guy. So I'm like, what the hell was the reason of this guy coming up to me? Like, he found me to be strange too, because the whole time I was around him, I was awkward. I was awkward, but yeah, that was the first instance where I predicted something that came true. I just had this inner knowing. I didn't know how to explain it. I just knew that he was going to die. Another instance, this one is pretty strange as well. This one gives me chills for sure. So I was a little girl, and me and my sister would get left in the house together often. So a lot of times, like, I'd be like minding my business and she'll just come and try to like pick on me, whatever, sibling rivalry, whatever. So this one time I was watching this movie, and usually I was like dancing all around the house, just like watching MTV, but like dancing to music videos. But then this movie just like, I was like, what the hell is this movie? And it just caused me to like sit down and watch it and really focus on this movie. And it was so like this movie pulled you in, and it had like such a depressing, dark beginning. And that's why it kind of caught me, because I was like, what the hell is this movie? So I kept watching it until I found out what was it about. And then it was about this lady who got diagnosed with I kept watching it because the actress was the same actress from a show that I love, Martin. It was Gina from Martin was the star of this movie. So I was like, oh my God, she looks a mess. She looked like terrible. She looked depressed. She looked sad. I was like, oh my God, I never saw her like this. Let me sit down and watch this movie. So that was another reason why I kept watching the movie. So I found out that this movie was about a lady who got lupus. And so my sister like came up to me, and she would be aggressive sometimes. I was sitting on the couch, and she just like came up to me like, I don't know what she said. I don't remember if she was like yelling at me or something. She was like, what are you doing? Or something like that. And then I was like, I think she did something. I don't remember if she made me upset or whatever, but I just looked at her and I said, you're gonna get lupus. And guess what? She got diagnosed with lupus some years later. And when I told her that, she looked at me with like this hurt look. She was like, why would you say that? And it's like she accepted it as her fate. And I don't know why I said that. Like, I was just a calm, quiet, sometimes dancing around type of kid. I wasn't like out to curse people with death and disease. But damn, I don't know what in me just looked at her and said, you're gonna get lupus. And like, oh my gosh, she was like, why would you say that? And then she looked like she wanted to cry, and she just walked off. So, you know, maybe I was like an oracle in my past life. I don't know, but these situations really, I put them under the rug and I just forgot about them. But now that all this information is coming out, and I've been doing research, trying to figure out who I am, and the blood type of Rh negative, why it's so rare, and why I go through what I go through, and all this other stuff. And that just along with all the sensitivities that I feel and the attention I receive from others, it just really caused me to take a deep look at who I am, and down to my blood type, down to where I'm from, just everything, my family, past generations, everything. So, yeah, I believe that, you know, there's a correlation between why I am the way I am, why these intuitive like messages just came up without me thinking, out of nowhere. I think it does correlate to me being RH negative. And that's all I gotta say.